Buono from Business Loan Services, and welcome again to another episode of the Business Finance Bulletin Xtra, an extra dose of business finance tips and news. Well, today I've got a special guest on the show. Our guest is somebody who's just recently joined Business Loan Services, just joined the team, and welcome to Shayne. Welcome, Shayne.
Well, thank you, Rob. It's a great pleasure to be here and to be part of the team from this Monday officially.
Yeah, so it's great to have you on board. So I thought I'd take an opportunity just to have a chat with you about your background, your experience, to give people who watch the show an idea of who you are, what you do, and of course, what you bring to Business Loan Services by joining the team. So as you said, you joined with effect from the 4th of May. So as we record this, a couple of days in, and I know you're immersing yourself in the volumes of material I've been bombarding you with.
Yes, definitely. It's been a busy couple of days, really, with everything going on, and obviously the climate and the impact of COVID-19 and so on. So it's kind of kind of mapping out the new business going forward, all my infrastructure in place, and getting ready to go whilst giving advice and supporting clients along the way, really. Yeah,
brilliant. Well, let's start off with a bit about your background. So tell us a bit about your kind of working history, Shayne.
Yeah, sure. Well, I've been working in SME and business support for the last 25 years. 10 of those years I spent with Barclays Bank as a relationship business manager. Interesting point, I was actually the youngest appointed business manager at the time. I was only 19 years old.
There's something that you didn't know, because what many people watching this show don't know, well, that we worked together, didn't we, many years ago?
We did. You were my first official boss when I joined the business support team.
Yeah, when you were a fresh-faced youth and I was youngish and had hair. Well, no, I never did have hair, actually.
That's a good point.
The one thing I don't think you did know when you said you became the youngest appointed manager at 19, did you realise, and I didn't realise until we started talking, that you actually beat my record? Because at one point I was. And I would have been 22, 23, I think, Barclays in Wales, youngest appointed manager. I didn't know until recently that you beat me. You took my record away.
Yeah. Well, sorry about that, Rob.
So carry on. So you had a few years in Barclays then? Yeah,
so 10 years with Barclays, and I had a real privilege really to work along a variety of sectors. So I started out in small business banking. I progressed to supporting agriculture. And then medium business into corporate and retail. And it was over 10 years I was with Barclays before. Then I went on to Antitavi for the last 15 years.
Okay. So those people wouldn't know what Antitavi is, obviously for a Welsh name. So a few people scratching their heads. What does Antitavi mean in English anyway, the equivalent?
Well, it's a good point. It's about economy and flowing through the River Teifi, really. And it's, Antitavi are a social enterprise. They've been trading for 40 years, predominantly established in the Teifi Valley area. And they've grown out of the local area. Now they run economic programs and projects across the whole of Wales. I came on board initially with Antitavi as a high growth relationship manager working on a Welsh government contract to support kind of largest employers across Mid and West Wales. And then from there, then I went on to deliver a variety of economic programs and projects, flexible support for Business Wales, as is now known, and delivered a variety of other programs and projects with Welsh Government over the years, really.
Okay. So probably quite a difference moving from a big corporate outfit like a high street bank into a more tightly focused community group, I guess.
It was. And when I joined, 15 years ago, the economic platform that we were delivering was a lot more localized. So it was all about the relationships. And good thing I brought to Antitavi was a lot of my kind of clients I was working with in the bank. So that worked quite well from a relationship perspective, really. And helping them align their plans with a variety of economic strategies that Welsh Government were developing at the time. I think then Welsh Government were coming out of WDA days into what we know as Welsh Government, really. So a lot of change going on across the economy at the time.
Yeah, okay. And obviously, I guess a lot of European money flooding it at that stage.
Yeah, definitely. And that's expanded really a lot over the last few years. And I think what we've seen originally at the time, there were lots of small economic programs delivering a variety of business support across Wales. And I think the appetite was for that to become more of a larger pan-Wales type delivery programme. So quite fortunate to be part of the tendering programme behind Business Wales and actually establishing the infrastructure across Wales for what Business Wales is today.
Yeah, I guess the kind of issues you face in rural Wales were similar to issues that many rural areas would see across the whole of UK, with Scotland, Northern Ireland and England. But what kind of issues did you see in terms of kind of problems that businesses had or support functions?
It's an interesting question, really. It's I think a lot of the early days we saw a lot of concerns from the business community that a lot of support is more focused maybe towards South Wales, and the rollout of the economic programmes and projects was about trying to get that support service out to everyone across Wales. So we were very much fundamentally part of that, and we were leading the initiative, really, which was really good.
Yeah. Okay. So you're very much at the sharp end of seeing the problems that businesses had.
Yes. Yeah. No. Definitely, and not uncommon, really. I think a lot of issues. I think people think when you've got a small business or a very large business that the issues tend to be very different, but surprisingly they're very similar. But it's about scale, I would imagine. It's
Yeah. So looking at the kind of businesses that you would interact with, then were you kind of hands-on in terms of relationship, or was it more of an internal role with Xtra TV?
Yeah, definitely. I think the first part of my career was very much hands-on as a growth business advisor and working with companies to develop and go forward. And then my kind of career took me into more kind of program management and managing economic programs and projects, where I was at one point I was running Business Wales with over 60 staff and responsible for a P&L of up to 3 million. So again, that went from me being as an individual advisor when it first started through to the later part of that career, really.
Yeah. Okay, good.
But yeah, really interesting, really. And I think the biggest challenges we had is the geography. Wales is a small country, but very challenging when it comes to travelling around. And I think for a lot of businesses, it's sometimes people don't appreciate that in rural economies, especially in Mid and West Wales, that's a challenge in itself, really, of getting your suppliers in and out and keeping on top of that. So
yeah, because obviously it has a knock-on effect on your margins, because you've got to say that the whole logistical transport issues as well to start with, if you're physically manufacturing. Yeah, good, because you bring another bit of a different skill set in it as well, in that you started your own business as well, or the family business.
Yeah, no, definitely. We're a very busy family, and about 3 years ago, we decided. I was living in Cardiff at the time with my wife, and we decided to come back to our roots in West Wales, and we established a family restaurant. So I know from the sharp end, really, what it's like to run a business. And you know, I was working full time when we first had the business, and working 5-6 nights a week in the family restaurant as well. And we also had a baby the same year we set the business up. So yeah, it's been a busy 3 years with everything. But
you wouldn't do things by half there. So where would you say your skill set lay in the restaurant trade then? How were you put to use?
I got to do everything apart from the cooking. So so managing the customers, front of house, and all the paperwork and the marketing and that side of the business. And obviously managing relationships within our supply chain as well was very critical and important to the business. And then my wife and my brother were more in the kitchen and doing the more important job of cooking amazing meals for people. So
yeah. But as you say, you've been at the sharp end, and of course that sector has been typically impacted very hard by COVID-19 and the coronavirus.
Yes.
How has that impacted your family business, but also the wider business community that you've been involved with until recently?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think, I mean, and that's one thing I can really appreciate, really, from a family perspective and having our own business. And we had to close our doors on the 20th of March, and we've had to go through furloughing staff and closing down and shutting up our operations as such, which was, you know, a real challenge, really. And I think, and then my work, then I picked up a piece of work with Welsh Government to actually deliver webinars. So I've been advising from day one. I've been holding 2 webinars 3 days a week, actually helping businesses see through the fog, how I like to explain it, where all the variety of economic programs and grants and initiatives were coming out at that time. So it was great from that perspective. I was able to share from local business perspective and from my day job as a business advisor. So yeah, It's been a challenging time, but I think it's been able to help lots of businesses actually see more forward, really, start planning ahead, really.
Yeah.
I think the first couple of weeks was more focused around helping businesses deal with it now. But then, obviously, as that's tailed off in the last few weeks, now it's more about looking at what you need going forward and planning 6 to 12 months ahead, really.
Yeah. What do you think the impact's going to be for the smaller businesses that you've been interacting with? Do you think there's going to be a big shift? People are starting to quote about the new normal. I mean, do you think there's going to be changes in the businesses that you've seen going forward?
Most definitely, really. I think how you delivered your service up to the 20th of March, especially in a rural area, like we're in a rural tourism area in Wales, I think going forward, it's going to be more about the infrastructure and helping social distancing and taking those areas on board as a business. And it's not just about having distancing, it's about the economy of scale, really. It's around, if your business was used to having 100 people walk through your door each day, and now you may only be allowed to have 20, for example, then it's going to have a real impact financially on your business. I think
the level of support and the resilience is going to be there to hopefully continue these businesses once the lockdown is lifted, or are we going to see some casualties along the way?
I think, and I mean, it depends. I think in a tourism area, if you really rely on tourism, it's going to have a real impact, I think, on a lot of businesses. And I think a lot of businesses at the moment are really thinking about how they can plan and actually be operational going forward. And there's some great support for the government around furlough and so on. But there's a big question mark there. If that's lifted and furlough stops too soon, and then obviously that's going to have a real impact on businesses going forward, and especially going into your winter months if you're in a tourism area. Really. So I think there's a lot of things to think about. And hopefully the government, I mean, so far they've been pretty proactive with a variety of initiatives. And I mean, I've had the pleasure of working behind the scenes of economic programs and projects. And it's a lot of work when you announce a new scheme or a new project. They announce probably 6 or 7 measures all at the same time. So I think everyone's doing their bit at the moment. But I think going forward for a business, I think businesses now want to see a bit of a clearer roadmap around how that infrastructural changes or social distancing changes are going to affect their business and how they can prepare for that, really.
Yeah, I mean, you're right about the speed with which things have changed and the speed with which businesses have stepped up to new ways of working. You mentioned about the banks and the coronavirus business interruption loan schemes and the bounce back scheme, and these and many others, which have been rolled out quite quickly. And bigger organizations can test projects and new products for months well ahead in order to make sure all the kinks are ironed out. But of course, we've got lots of these new programs which are rolled out typically in a matter of 5, 6, 7 working days, which is unheard of. It just proves what we can do as a country when we're under pressure a bit. But,
and I think also it's about, I think a lot of businesses I was supporting, especially family, small to medium-sized businesses, and also potentially businesses who started up and they're under 2 years trading. It's the ones that fall between the cracks, really. And we're picking up lots and lots of examples in the first 2 to 4 weeks of these initiatives that have been announced. And I think Welsh government are trying to pick up and support businesses where they can. But I think from my experience, not everyone, unfortunately, is going to get a grant or a support scheme. And it'd be interesting to see how the HMRC rollout goes across next month as far as businesses who are making, self-assessment support and so on. But again, lots of businesses are going to fall in the gaps with those schemes as well.
I think the Chancellor has been very clear a couple of weeks ago. He did say, he's warning everyone, we will not be able to save every business.
No.
So, it is really going to be the survival of the fittest, I guess, that comes out of this. But anyway,
also challenging as well, Rob. A lot of businesses, where they've had, say, for example, may have had a grant linked to their rate of a property. And I was talking to a business just last week, and his fixed costs were £60,000 a month being closed. So, £10,000 sounds a lot of money, but it doesn't last long when you've got a sizable operation, really. Yeah.
Good. So a kind of new chapter emerging now then. So say you've joined the Business Loan Services team.
Definitely, and I'm really looking forward to it, to be fair. And I'm hoping to bring, obviously, my experience and my energy and everything I've gained and learned over the last 25 years. And I think for myself and what I can bring to business loan services is, I'm all about support. I have a clear understanding of business needs. And I think respect is a big thing when you're developing a new relationship. Something I've done all my life, really, is about supporting, understanding and respecting, but equally being quite firm in the advice I provide. Sometimes, when you work on an economic program or a project, not everyone likes to say no, but sometimes in reality, when you run a business, actually it's giving people the right information at the right time and being able to see what you can work with going forward. And that's something I've always delivered across my advisory years over the last 25 years.
Yeah. Well, you picked up on something there about the relationships and identifying needs. I mean, that's something at the core we talked about when we first started talking about you coming on board.
Yeah.
But the philosophy of BLS is, it is about relationships and really identifying the needs. I would say 90% of our clients, if not 99%, we would see face to face. And so it's good that you come from that background. And of course, the one other thing that you bring to BLS, thank goodness, is that you do actually lower the average age of the team, because we are all
only by a couple of years.
We're all 50 plus. All the other, all four of us here, and you're the fifth. So gladly you say you do lower that average age profile down slightly. So that's one added bonus as well.
Sure. No, it's. I mean, I've been really grateful for all the support I've had, and my early days in Barclays Bank, I was given some great guidance, and I absorbed it like a sponge. It's like a child in a way. When you've got someone who's very young, they absorb everything, and that's something I've always done in my career. I've always sat back and listened and taken people's opinions and advice on board. And now I've been at the point for the last 25 years where I've been able to share that with businesses. But I think you're learning all the time. I think, regardless of age and how much experience you've had, I think when you run a business for yourself and run your own P&L and your staffing and so on, it's a different dimension from when you maybe just working with it in a role like I was maybe at Answer TV and Barclays Bank. So I think what I've learned in the last 3 years by having a family business has really accelerated my knowledge and respect for what businesses have to do and how hard they got to work to make their operations go forward. And so I'm hoping to bring that with me to business loan services, and I'm really looking forward to the challenges ahead, really.
Look, you got some other little bolt-ons as well, which you're doing alongside BLS as well, which is again about streamlining and managing costs. So talk a little bit about what else you're going to be doing kind of outside of our brand. Yeah,
sure. No, that's a good point. I mean, as part of my business model going forward, there's kind of three key elements, really. So one is going to be helping business access key finance solutions, which is through my appointed representative with yourself, Rob, and Business Loan Services. But two key areas I've always been keen to develop to help businesses is the second one is cost-saving solutions. We're looking at developing a wide variety of solutions that businesses, when you're running a business and you're very busy, there's so many costs going out of your business, you don't always stay in control. So through my company, All Business Solutions, we've been to look at helping business owners actually look at their costs and see where we can make large savings for them. And the third element then is consultancy support. So I'll be able to actually help a business join the team, be part of their strategic framework going forward. So access to finance, cost-saving solutions, and consultancy-led services, really.
I think the cost savings one is particularly important. Has come to mind for a lot of businesses, obviously, over the last couple of weeks when people have been forced to almost sit down and look at the cost base. I mean, I've had a number of conversations with business owners when they're putting their cash flow forecast together when they're applying for the interruption loan scheme facilities. And many of them said it's been the best exercise they've ever done to sit down and do a cash flow forecast. I was only speaking to one guy yesterday. It's the first time that he's ever sat down and gone through his bank statement line by line, because he left that to other people. And he realized there were payments that he was making that he just wondered, when did they last challenge the supplier on costs? So all of these things can be very easily missed, can't they?
No, definitely. And it's going to be critical, I think, going forward for a lot of businesses. I think one thing I've been delivering as a message in the webinars I've been delivering for Welsh Government is, your cash is king. And it's a really old saying that we've all heard, over all our careers, but I think under these current climate we're in and unprecedented circumstances, every penny will really count. So we're hoping to help businesses to kind of look at their overall costs, definitely forecast ahead. I mean, cash flow, forecasting and really understanding your figures. And I know watching your videos, Rob, over the years, you've always told businesses that you really need to understand your figures. I think, now is very important. And I mean, I was talking to a business a couple of weeks ago who still puts everything in a box, gives it to their accountant, and then waits 6 months plus to find out how they've done, And I'm sure a lot of people listening to this video today can kind of appreciate with that. But go through all your cost lines, really challenge and, those costs. Very important going forward. And it's surprising what you can save. It's really surprising. I mean, I got a neighbour here in my hometown. He's got a tyre centre, and we saved him £23,000 just on a card machine. It's staggering, absolutely staggering. And it's a bit of plastic with buttons, like any other bit of plastic with buttons, but it just has a different charging structure behind it. So we'll be hoping to help businesses go forward by looking at all sorts of areas, really.
Excellent. Yeah, those cost savings are right under your nose, but you need to know where to look, don't you, and where to go to get those better pricing. So I think it'll be a great add-on as well. Excellent. Well, Shayne, say really good to have you on board. So with your BLS hat on, how can people get hold of you? What's your email address? So
it's Shayne at businessloanservices.co.uk.
You remembered it. Excellent.
First test pass. You there, Rob.
Testing you. Excellent. Yeah, it was good stuff. Yes. Good. Yeah. So if anyone wants to get hold of you, say just drop Shayne a line at that email address.
And importantly, it's Shayne spelled with a Y. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll type it up here so people can see it as well. And yeah, that's a good reminder. Excellent, Shayne. Thanks very much for your time, and thanks for sharing your background or whatever. And look forward to speaking with you again very soon. So thanks everybody for joining us. So if you want to get hold of Shayne, just drop me an email at Shayne at businessloanservices.co.uk. So thanks very much for watching us on this bulletin. Look forward to being with you again next time. Cheers now.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.